Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast is now on YouTube. Go on YouTube and search Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast and click that subscribe button to never miss an episode. Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. Or if you follow us on the good old Twitter machine, EPEEP for short. I am one of your hosts today, Wrestling Chris G from Sports Entertainment Breakdown. And today we actually have two extra people that's on the show today. We have my good old host, Doug, the one that digs a lot. Dougie, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and since I had a little bit of flub on last week's episode, I found myself doing the EP intro, like, in the shower this afternoon for no apparent reason. So I think if you ever lose your voice one week, I think I might have it covered.
Oh, okay. I might put you to the test next week, Doug. I might just do it.
Oh, shit.
Vacation time, man. It's the holidays.
Oh, called out.
There you are. So, and on the other line with us here today is our good old special guest this week. It's JP from JP versus the World podcast. JP, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. This is the magic of the internet. You send a message, a month and a half later, you're suddenly inside of someone else's world, man. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So JP, we've had a few small discussions, just kind of arranging everything on our show. But as I stated, you do have a podcast. Would you like to kind of give your little background in the podcasting world right now?
Sure, yeah. So I sort of spontaneously started a podcast called JP versus the World, which you can find like everywhere, as well as YouTube. I do video interviews. So they're long form interviews. It's sort of like Joe Rogan format where it's really like laid back and we're just shooting the shit, essentially. Can I swear? Is that okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah, and I just talk to people. I have a background in music, and particularly experimental music, so I kind of lean on that, but I have interest beyond that, so I'll talk to pretty much anyone. I've talked to jazz musicians, I've talked to YouTubers, I've talked to other podcasters, so that's my show. I just do my research. I try to be like somewhere between Rogan and Nardwuar, sort of, is kind of my aim.
Well, Rogan's on the top of the charts right now. He just scored a ridiculous fucking deal with Spotify. It's Spotify, right?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I cannot believe that he struck that deal, but I mean,
it's pretty cool though, man. Like the value of this medium being like monetarily given that value of $200 million is like very cool and interesting to see a new medium come to the forefront, right?
Yeah, it really is, and hopefully one day we'll all be there, and we'll all be showering in the glory. But
in the podcast riches, it'll be Bitcoin. We'll get paid by the time it's there.
For real.
Yeah.
So today's episode is episode 31, and the episode is titled "Dig Those Diglett," or translated from Japanese, "Full of Digda," or Digda. I cannot say that word. I've tried.
Didn't get it right last week either.
No, I could not get it right last week. Full of Digda. There you go. I got it, and I'm not going back. So you got that one take. So this episode premiered in Japan October 28th, 1997, and here in the States it premiered October 19th, 1998. And as everyone knows that follows our podcast, we like to go back on the historical date for the U.S. release, which will be October 19th. And Doug, since mine just happened as of 2018, I can almost guarantee that you're going first this week, aren't you?
Yeah. And I mean, yeah. So on this date, in 1957,
Holy shit, Doug.
Montreal Canadiens great Maurice the Rocket Richard becomes the first
Nice.
NHL player to score 500 goals.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Oh.
You guys know I'm Canadian, right? You know that?
Yeah, we had this discussion before we started.
Okay, that's what I figured. You said Maurice Richard, and I'm like, are you fucking with me? You
So-
gonna bring up Tim Hortons next?
No, it's funny because Doug found that, and as soon as he found that, I saw on the Skype feed that I was like, oh, it says that he's from Vancouver, and Doug was like,
I'm from
"Get the hell out of
Victoria,
here."
but Vancouver is close to here. Yeah.
Okay. So and we have a running gag right now because every single guest that we've ever had, either Sports Entertainment Breakdown, which is our other show, or the Pokemon podcast, everybody's been from Canada. So we have one other guest named Ben, who does podcasting and Twitch as well. He's from Canada as well, and I was like, we're all of our special guests are just gonna come from Canada. Apparently a lot of people like us up there.
Yeah, man. I don't know. We love talking at the very least. So.
So all right, but mine is not so Canadian. I mean, it was released out there, but mine is back in 2018 was when we actually officially got the film reboot of Halloween. So Halloween came out on this day in 2018, and it's not the original, but it is damn close because that movie was fucking awesome.
It was pretty good for a reboot.
Yeah, I don't really dig a lot of reboots, but that one.
I see what you did there.
Hey, you gotta be a part of the title, bro. So, but yeah, Halloween came out. Famous Halloween movie, I guess you can say. It's kind of weird saying the title as the actual
Halloween, the Halloween movie.
Yes. So
that should be the sequel.
But a good note for this movie is the day that it came out, it grossed $77 million, the biggest debut of any horror film, leading with a female lead in over 55 in the US. So, wow. Okay. So, yeah, the lead was in the original movie and she was in the reboot as well. So, good stuff.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee. So, all right. So, that's our history date. Are you guys ready to dive on into this episode?
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
excited
sir.
to talk about this one.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, JP, don't think that we're not going to let you go over. So any notes that you have on your end, feel free to come in. I'll actually, are you actually watching this as well in the background on your end, or do you just have?
Is that what you guys do?
Yeah, we
I never realized that. Okay.
So
That explains the last one I listened to.
So yeah, we pull it up. So I mean, if you're not, we'll go scene. We are going scene by scene. So
Yeah, it's open. I'm opening it. It's on Netflix. It's easy. Let's go. Yeah, there it is.
all right, perfect.
Dig those Diglets.
Dig
All right.
those Diglets. So wait, hold up. So out in Canada right now, you still get the original Pokemon episodes on Netflix.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Oh, that is nuts. Yeah, they took that away from us. All we're getting is Journeys and a few other episodes and movies.
Okay.
So okay.
Torrenting? You guys been torrenting them?
No, actually, I own the complete Pokemon DVD collection. I found somebody that was selling it online and bought it from them, and I've been watching them ever since.
Is it just like the whole Indigo League or whatever?
It's actually Indigo all the way up to Journeys. So.
Oh, nice! Wow, that's a lot of Pokemon.
Oh, it's a lot. It's over 150 DVDs that I got. So.
Jesus Christ! Is it like a? Is it a bootleg or is it
Yeah,
like?
it's a bootleg. Yeah. Someone found the high quality episodes, put them on the DVDs, and shipped them out to me. So,
Damn.
but
You should get that person on the podcast.
I should.
That's dedication, man.
I should, because they do watch the show. It's funny because
I would hope so.
They
burned 150 DVDs.
they went over that I was gonna get all the deleted episodes and all the episodes that you can't find anymore. They're like, they're all on there. I was like, oh, cool, sweet. How much do you want for it? 200? Fine. Fuck. But it was definitely worth it. So,
Yeah.
So she got paid for her work. So, all right.
Nice.
So I'm queuing up the episode as we speak right now. And we actually start this episode with the narrator actually saying that it has now been several months since Ash has gone out on his journey. So that kind of gives you a little timeline. It doesn't really give too much of a timeline because I've seen some later episodes and Ash still looks like he's 10 freaking years old. He never celebrates a birthday in this series. So yeah, we start this episode, they're walking, and of course they're walking in a forest, so they have to be lost, right? So they're lost, and Brock is looking at the map, and he goes, okay, Fuchsia City, Fuchsia.
I wrote down that Brock is obnoxious. I don't remember that from when I was a kid. I remember thinking he was a playboy, you know?
Yeah. Well,
This guy's a pimp, man.
He thinks he's a playboy.
Now he just seems sad, man.
I know. And it gets even better later in this episode when he gets called an old man. So but yeah, they're walking and Brock is looking at the map and he goes, okay, Fuchsia City, Fuchsia, it's over one of these 3 mountains, but which mountain is it? And they're kind of looking around. Doug, what was your feeling at the beginning of this?
Well, kind of like you said when we got in here, it wouldn't be the start of a Pokemon episode, because they haven't been lost in a while. So it was about time for them to start an episode being lost.
Yeah, because they've been in a lot of cities.
And I kind of felt bad for, I mean, as bad as it gets for Brock, like you said later, I kind of felt bad for him here because he kind of had a little bit of a mini breakdown.
Yeah, he did. And Ash just gives no fucks. He's looking around and he's like, well, regardless of anything, we just need to get over one of these mountains and get to the Fuchsia City gym. I'm ready for a battle. And then they hear a big bump. And then they're kind of looking around. And that's where we get to Team Rocket. Very early in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, basically almost right after the title sequence.
Yes. And JP, do you have anything that you want to give on this next part?
On the when we see Team Rocket briefly?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they're eating. I noticed that throughout this episode, Team Rocket is like especially Japanese in this episode, if that makes sense. Like they're eating like noodles and stuff.
Yes.
And then at the end of the episode, which we'll get to, there's another thing that I thought was really random and strange with their get-ups towards the end of the episode. That's very Japanese as well. And Meowth is working out.
Yeah, he was just working out, and I mean, he still has his little stick arms.
Yeah, but he's got a little tummy,
he has to burn all those noodles that he was just eating.
Yeah, exactly.
So after this scene, obviously Team Rocket hears a big thud as well, and then they're like, okay, what is that noise? And then we cut straight back over to Ash and them, and Ash is like, did you guys hear that? And they're like looking around, and then they hear the thump again, and Ash's like, it's over there. And then they just start running. So you kind of get what's getting ready to happen in this episode. But Team Rocket left Meow all behind when they went running to find out what's going on because they're pissed off. Their food flipped.
Well, I was gonna say they're also wearing their lunch. But yeah, so the trio kind of comes over a ridge, and they just see just truck upon truck upon truck just going down this narrow pathway. And you see random explosions, and boulders are tumbling, and
Yeah, the vibrations of all these big trucks is just creating boulders to fall and
Yeah.
just tearing up the road and everything. And then we come to find out, that that at the end of where these trucks are going to, they're building something, but we don't know what they're building yet.
right.
I hate seeing trucks in Pokemon, you know?
Why?
Like, I know there's the truck in the original game that like Mew was supposed to be hiding under or whatever, but like I don't like seeing. I'm like, this isn't the real world. Why are you doing construction? Like, come on.
Exactly.
I want to see Pokemon.
And Jesse and James kind of poke their heads up from a bush looking over at this construction site, and they're like, this kind of looks like a battle zone. And James is like, maybe we're being attacked by aliens. And Jesse is just like, what planet are you from? Like, just tore him down to shit right there.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% paying attention. And then when he said maybe we're being attacked by aliens, I was like, that's one of the most random things I've heard on this show so far. I mean, granted, we've only done, 30 odd episodes, but like, that was completely out of left field.
Well, I mean,
Well, it brings up an interesting question, right? Like,
Yes.
Do aliens exist in the Pokemon universe?
and
And wouldn't they just be Pokemon probably?
that's what I was getting at. I was like, are they aliens or would they be Pokemon? I mean, we did see the episode with Clefairy and
Clefairy comes from the moon, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
yeah.
That's
So-
an alien. Clefairy's an alien. So would they even think to call them aliens?
Your guess is good as mine. I mean, they flop into a Pokeball. So I don't think they put too much thought into the first season of Pokemon, because they walk a fine line that you kind of watch more of today's episodes. Like the stuff that happened in season 1 would not happen today, because they cross their T's and dot their I's. But I'm just like, okay, aliens, Clefairy.
How much Pokemon have you seen? Like, can I ask you that?
Yes, you can. So currently, I have watched all the way up to Pokemon Battle. Let's see. Hold on. I can actually pull that up. Give me.
You're like, I'm on DVD 75.
So I just finished Battle Frontier. So
Battle
see,
Frontier. Oh
yes.
yeah, that was like towards like the end of me watching Saturday morning cartoons. I think was when that was. Yeah. That's Generation 3. Okay.
So yeah, it was freaking long as hell, because I tell this story a few times on the show. It probably hasn't hit the podcast waves yet from what you've heard, but Johto was 2 freaking seasons. Like basically, I chop up Pokemon as season 1 Indigo, then you have the Orange Islands, then you get Johto, which is 2 seasons, but I chopped that into 1. But then you get season 5 through 9. It's all one big like season. It's ridiculous. It started in 2001, and we don't even get to the Pokemon League until 2006. 5 years.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Wow.
I was pulling my hair out watching that on DVD. I was like, come on, there's so many filler episodes. I mean, I like some of the episodes, but let's get to the point, people. You guys took 5 years to get here.
Yeah,
Jeez.
how serious does the continuity get once you get into there? Because I know it's like it is a pretty episodic show with your end of season though, like being obviously the Elite Four and stuff every time. But
Yeah, the continuity, I would say the episodes end up, I mean, they make sense, but they stretch them out. Like, they stretch them out so freaking long. I guess they kind of made the episodes go along with the video game. So every time you got like a major video game, you got a new major series. Like, I'm looking on here right now, just season 10 through 13 is all Diamond and Pearl. So I'm just like, whoa. But yeah, they keep up with the storyline. They go a lot more in depth into the Pokemon. The adventures get a lot longer. You get a lot more stretched out episodes. Like I remember one specific episode had 5 parts to it. So it was 5 full weeks of just one big long adventure with Team Magma and Team Aqua when they were
okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, because that's what I always preferred about Digimon to Pokemon, in all honesty, was that there was like a true overarching plot, whereas Pokemon, from my childhood memory, didn't quite have the same like seriousness towards telling a like narrative.
yes. So they do get a lot more in depth as the series goes on, and I think that actually started kicking in on the let's see, right after Johto. Yeah, it was. Yeah, right after Johto. So season 5, which it'll be
Ruby and Sapphire, I guess, right?
Yes, Ruby and Sapphire. Okay. That's where they started really jumping into everything. And I think Ruby and Doug, you've told me this a few times. Ruby and Sapphire were your last major games, correct?
Yeah, the Ruby was the last game that I went hard on. I think it was the last. I was one Pokemon short of completing the Pokédex, and I just, you get to a point where you're just running the Elite Four over and over and over to just, level up the last Pokemon in your party.
Yes.
And that was the last one. That and Sapphire was the last one that the last one that I bought was probably Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I don't think I ever played it.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's same with me.
Yeah, I have upstairs Black 2, and I probably have played like maybe an hour and a half of those, and then jumped right into kind of Sun and Moon when those came out and played half of those. But
I've heard those are very good. I've heard that was like a return to form. That's what the people have told me.
Yes, they are very good, and the story in them are amazing. But I do like the Switch versions that I have right now. I love Sword and Shield. Like I've beaten that game. I'm actually all the way on the last new DLC that they brought out. So they extended the story. But all right, so
I played the Let's Go one. I liked that a lot. I thought it was just like good, easy fun.
Oh, it was good, easy fun. And the fact that it's so easy to get Pokemon in that game is just ridiculous.
I almost caught them all in less than 30 hours, which felt pretty good.
Holy crap, you really grinded.
Yeah, I was just like, I was in the car a lot and I wasn't driving. That was what I remember.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, all right, so back into this episode. We stopped right where the trucks are going through, and then out of nowhere, one of the trucks hits a ditch and completely falls over, and then all the trucks that are right behind it start crashing, and then it's one big, massive crash site. It was like 20 or 30 of these trucks that had just crashed and combined together. Like, that's crazy to me.
It's a catastrophe.
Yes.
Thankfully, because it's a kid's show, nobody was severely hurt.
At least that they let on.
Well, this is true.
Yes. We don't see the off-screen stuff. So, but the
episode 31.
So Ash and the trio and also Team Rocket are watching as this is going on. They actually have, it's a weird little screen that they have like right in the middle as they're looking at all of the crashes, and Team Rocket goes, "Oh, the destruction." Like they're just sad, like they're hoping nobody's hurt from this, and Team Rocket thinks they caused it.
Yeah, and I mean they would, right? Because they're the villains, and they're sitting there going, "Well, maybe we got one right." But I mean, I think even they would have, some type of
remorse,
decency or remorse, exactly.
So, but then out of nowhere, Pikachu is just standing on the ground, and out plops a Diglett. Now, let's talk Diglett real quick, okay?
Diglett.
Yeah, talking Diglett. Diglett's a weird-ass Pokemon.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
That's why I wanted to do this one.
because it's, I mean, we're gonna get into what Diglett is a little later, probably in the next 10 minutes in this episode with Gary. But Diglett just plops out of the ground, no nose, big old mouth. From what I can tell, I'm looking at a pause frame of Diglett just popping out of the ground. But who came up with the artwork for freaking Diglett? I just think it's weird. JP, what are your thoughts on Diglett?
On Diglett?
Yes.
I don't know. I think Diglett is hilariously like half baked of an idea.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I don't know, it's underground. It kind of looks like a wide penis without balls, kind of.
Okay. I was hoping one of you was going to say it because I'm watching this and I'm like, that's just like we never see the bottom half of Diglett. You don't ever see the bottom half of Diglett, even in in the Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I'm gonna tie this back a little bit. I got a little irked. Okay, so there's a move that you can do. Like with Diglett becoming like this massive, big, gigantic Pokemon. But in order for him to do this move, he has to come off of the ground, okay? So I'm like, oh, shit, we're going to finally see what Diglett looks like underground. No. He comes out of the ground, it's a smooth bottom, and he just charges at the Pokemon, and I'm like, what the flying F?
No legs, no leg propeller, or like shovel bottom or balls or anything. Like,
no, just
so at that rate, it's a flying sausage.
Yeah. There you go. That for people out there that are trying to think of what a Diglett looks like, think of an Italian sausage. Take some eyeballs and just plop them on there. And then what could you use for the mouth, guys?
Well, I mean, if you want to continue with
jelly bean,
a jelly bean, a half cut pepperoni, and just plop it right on the mouth. So yeah, there you go. We're painting a good picture.
Would you say this is the most phallic Pokemon
that we've seen
so far? Yes.
So far, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right, it's at this.
Glad we settled that.
Now, I mean, we're going to keep a tally now. I mean, we're going to see if the rankings change by the end of
season one.
season,
Top
here.
5 most phallic Pokemon.
We might have to have you back on for a segment.
I mean, I'm making my list right now.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I think, but we haven't seen him yet. But I think Mr. Mime is one of the most weirdest. Mr. Mime and Jinx are probably one of the most weirdest Pokemon.
Well, Jinx is a source of trouble, you know.
Oh yeah, I can't. We're gonna be going over that episode at some point. It's on here.
That's not too far. I mean,
it's a little further, but we'll get to it. But yeah, Jinx had to be changed into a purple Pokemon due to blackface. So
yeah. Did they ever change the Dragon Ball character? You know what I'm talking about?
The Dragon
Mr.
Ball.
Popo? You know what I'm talking about?
No, they didn't. No,
they didn't.
They did not. So
they don't hold Dragon Ball to the same standard as Pokemon, huh?
No, but
there's something about the fan base, maybe.
And I love me some Dragon Ball.
Yeah, me too, man. Big time.
And that I actually have the legit copies. I have the complete series of that as well, all on HD DVD, all the way up to Super. I'm a big
HD DVD. How do you watch an HD DVD?
Not HD. I'm sorry, HD DVD. The art of podcasting.
See, I'm glad somebody else is here, because if I called him out on this shit, I get in trouble.
Well, I talk to you every day. I get your shit every day, Doug. Yeah. So
I'm unbiased, man.
So at this point in the episode, Pikachu runs over to Diglett, and Diglett just looks up. He's all happy, and then flops back into the ground. Meowth is looking over some type of cliff and going, "What was that?" And then we go straight from that to people getting out of their trucks from the car accident, and this guy, we caught him on his worst day. everyone.
Yeah, this guy is not having a good. Somebody pissed in his cornflakes. They spilled his coffee. I mean, he gets out and he's just pounding the ground. He's like, "I hate Diglett," and he looks over and you just see a group of them just popping up and down. He's Diglett, Diglett, Diglett. And he's so mad he tears into his hard hat.
His hard hat, yeah. I love this guy. He has a complete character arc in 20 minutes. Like,
yes, he is.
He's more fleshed out than Ash. It's crazy.
This is true. And I mean,
you guys are watching it in English, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, yeah. This guy has like a German accent, right?
Yeah, it's kind of
some weird
I
Eastern
picked
European.
up Italian. I picked up Italian.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong.
That
it
fits
could
the
be
stereotype
Russian.
better. Russian, that makes sense. Yeah.
And he's because Misty looks over and you see the group of them popping up and down, and she goes, "Cute. I think they're cute." And he pops up behind her. He goes, "You think it's cute?" And he's fucking tearing his shirt like I said, tears his hard hat.
He was not having it. He just hates, like, yeah, he's biting his shirt. He tore his hat off. And then Ash just goes, "Well, what the fuck is a Diglett?" And his Dexter pulls it up and is like, "Diglett, the movement of these ground Pokemon cause earthquakes." And I'm like, "Oh, good."
Well, let's not skate over the fact that at this instance, Dexter legitimately became Siri, because all he said was he said Diglett. He opened it up and said Diglett. He didn't point it at the Diglett. He opened it up and said Diglett.
Yes. So they knew about Siri before anyone knew about Siri.
Right.
So
alien technology.
There we go again, aliens.
So, all right. So we go straight from that to the do we ever get this guy's name? No, I'm just gonna call him Workman because I don't think we ever figured out. Yeah, I don't think he has.
And I'm gonna check Bulbapedia, which I spent a bit of time on today.
Oh yeah, no, I have that up. Wait a minute, I could be doing something.
Pokemon 31. Doug, we're live googling. Where's our Jamie or whatever?
Let me see. Who gets to it first?
All right. Well, while you guys are looking this up,
he's just identified as the foreman.
Okay.
It says foreman and construction workers. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right. So cool. It's better than Boatsmager that I came up with a few weeks ago on the podcast.
I don't know. Fucking Boatsmager is gonna end up on a T-shirt.
So if you haven't heard on Beauty and the Beach, we were going over that episode, but they actually say the name of one of the main characters only once towards the end of the episode. And the whole episode, I'm sitting there going, well, we don't know his name. I'm just going to nickname him Boatsmager because he owns a boat, blah, blah, blah. It was a funny bit. But yeah, this guy gets mad because they had just paved down brand new concrete. And these Diglett are just popping their heads up and down all happily, and they're just causing all sorts of cracks in their freshly put down cement that looks like it had just hardened. And now these Digletts are just tearing it to shit.
It's like they knew.
Yes. And this guy, he's defeated again. And the artwork, I want to point out the consistency that they've done with this character, because he tore apart his hard hat, but in a regular cartoon, he tears it apart, you go to a different character, you come back to the person, they're wearing the hard hat again. It's like they never did anything. This guy is on the ground, his hair is still sticking out, and his hard hat is just shred to shit because he's just so fucking defeated. But Doug, all right, you go over this next part of the scene.
So he basically says he's had it up to, I'm not going to say up to here because then I have to do it and it's an audio. So he's at his wit's end with these Diglett. So he's basically put out a call to any Pokemon trainer who's able to get out to him that he's looking for a way to eradicate these Diglett. And he's offering this prize of a 6-night, 7-day getaway to the first trainer or group of trainers that can completely eliminate these Diglett. And I think just by virtue of being up front, at that specific moment, Ash says, "Well, we're three capable trainers," and he goes, "Oh, so you were the first ones we called for." And he goes, and right as he's saying, "Well, we weren't exactly called for," this convoy of buses and trainers, all led by Gary Oak's freaking convertible, pulls up.
Gary is a pimp. I love
man, he's what Brock aspires to be.
So I just think it's so funny because Gary, he has someone driving for him. Okay, so he's not old enough to drive yet. But Gary must have like buku money. Well, I mean, his grandfather is one of the biggest professors in all of the Pokemon world. But they're driving up in this convertible. All these buses come up behind him. And this is just a small entourage of people that are following Gary on his journey. Like, what?
Now, wait a minute. Now, I don't think. I mean, obviously, I think the women in the car are with him.
Yes.
I think the people in the buses were the other people that were answering the call.
Yeah, because you see them later,
Okay.
right?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. So,
But that being said, I wonder if Pokemon, like this world of Pokemon, what's it called, the Kanto region? Right?
yes, Kanto region.
Yeah, the Kanto region. I feel like the economy is doing really well.
You would hope so. I mean,
Yeah, I wonder if they have free healthcare. I don't know. I guess if you could just pop into a Poke Center
well, yeah, they.
But would
and they
would
just help your Pokemon.
Yeah,
so-
but would you, as a trainer, you wouldn't get treated there?
No,
that's true. But
but there
I don't
seems
know.
to
It seems
be
like an
medicine
empathetic
for anything.
socialist world, like
People don't
I
get
don't know.
sick in this, and if you do get sick, it's from a Pokemon, so you can go to the Pokemart, get some antidote, drink the antidote, and you're good again.
yeah.
So, but yeah,
These are the things I wonder about Pokemon.
I know I wonder these same things. I'm glad you're on here because
Yeah.
we kind of think alike. So Gary pulls up and he looks over and he's like, "Oh, well, if it isn't Little Ash from Pallet Town, the boy that's in 4th place out of all the people that have come out of Pallet Town," and Ash just grinds Ash's gears. And he's like, 4th place? He's like, well, you were the last one to get your Pokemon, and you were the last one to leave. So, yeah.
Who are the other two? Did we meet the other two?
We never find out. We've done so much homework trying to find them, but we never find out.
That infuriates me.
I know.
I mean,
This was Marvel Comics. Like they'd have their spin-off comic by now.
Well, Gary would have his own show
Yes.
yeah.
by
yeah.
now.
It'd be the
And
Venom of Pokemon.
and so would the other two, yeah.
So I have assumptions, but it'll be a little further in the future. But in the Pokemon League, we do get other trainers that seems like they may have come from the Kanto region.
I figured it out. I think I know what it is. It's red and blue, right? From the games.
Yeah,
Could be.
yeah, it could be. I mean,
Because there's two, right?
well, one of the trainers has to be a girl. So when, and the reason I think this is, we recently did a movie review, which is going to come out it's on December 26th.
Well, it's out.
Yeah, well, it's out that you're listening
You're
to this.
listening to
Yes. But in the movie, they kind of went back to the beginning of the Kanto region, and they show all the trainers who got their Pokemon, but you only see their arms. But one of the trainers, it's obvious it's a girl because there was nail fingernail polish on one of the trainer's hands. So we kind of alluded to that one of the trainers got, I think it was, what was it, Bulbasaur or was it Squirtle, Doug?
No, well, it's Bulbasaur because, well, it's either Bulbasaur or Charmander because we've established, well,
Gary got Squirtle.
right,
Gary
you
got
can,
Squirtle.
you can do a little bit of digging and find out Gary gets Squirtle. Yeah, so it's either one of those, and I think it was Bulbasaur, now that I'm saying that out loud.
So like I said, we don't know who it is. I mean, they have done a few different spin-offs of the Pokemon series with Red, actually. I think it's called
Pokemon
Adventures.
Legends.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Adventures. Legends.
Legends.
I watched. Yeah.
So yeah, they do spin-offs on there. I'm not gonna lie to you right now, so I'm not gonna act like I've seen it recently, but so I couldn't give you the proper background on it, but I'm pretty sure that they go over the trainers that got their Pokemon on those spin-offs, which kind of follows the video game. It's a really weird spin-off. Just throwing that
Oh,
out.
gotcha. Okay.
So Doug, there's a little homework for you for later on. There is a spin-off. I think it's only 4 episodes as well.
Well,
Is it?
I mean-
It's Origins, Pokemon Origins.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
So yes, it's a 4 or 5 episode series, and it's basically they're going through the entire from start to finish all the way to the Pokemon League in the span of 5 episodes. So it's very, very fast paced.
It's based on the game as opposed to the.
Yes.
But I think it's still technically in the continuity of the anime series.
It's weird. Like I said, it's different.
But
But
I want to watch this.
so
Let's torrent this right
there you go. So yeah, Gary basically tears Ash down in this scene and says that him and his entourage and the people that came with him, they're going to save this land and they're going to battle these Diglett. Doug, you want to take it away from here?
Yeah, well, so Ash has a really good line because, Gary kind of throws over to his entourage and they do a little cheer. And Ash goes, just dumber than a fence post, goes, "Are those Pokemon?" And Brock just hauls off and smacks him and says, "Don't
whacks.
be dumb."
And then Brock is trying to get a number from them, but these girls basically call him an old man. Brock's
Well,
only
well,
15.
But they agree to him. Because he's like, how would one of you like to go with me? And they go, "Yes, sir, that would be fun." And that's what trips him up because, they call the 15-year-old Brock sir. So, I just shudder to think,
They have established ages, eh?
Yes. We've done some digging. So the very first episode, Ash is 10.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Ash is a 10-year-old because he's able to finally go on his adventure and 10's the magic number in Pokemon.
Seems a little young.
And then with Misty just turned 10 as well, but she has older sisters. So she just became a gym leader. She did not like the responsibilities of being a gym leader, so she ran away. And she ran away to
Right, I
basically,
remember all that.
yeah. So she's 10, and then Brock, and I kind of feel for Brock because Brock's dad's a freaking dick. Brock's dad's like,
Well,
I had all these
in-
kids.
At the begining of that episode, he was, but he's come back round.
Yeah, but how do you?
Brock was a gym leader as well, correct?
Yeah, well, he had
Yeah.
to be because
Yeah.
his dad left the gym and left 15-year-old Brock to care for all of these kids, and the dad got his rocks off, but couldn't care for his kids. Like, come on now, deadbeat.
When he went out for those, wait a minute, that's not. He came back.
He can't. Yeah, but how long was he gone?
He went out for a pack of super potions or some shit. Like,
And never came back.
yeah. Went out for a pack of Marlboro Ultra Balls.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, at this time, let me get back into this episode. Oh, Doug, you were going over the rest of the scene.
So yeah, no, Brock gets basically called an old man. Misty says he's already over the hill. Brock is completely dejected.
And then we basically rush over to Gary saying that they're gonna basically save this land, and then we hit Team Rocket again, who thinks that these Diglett are the best Pokemon ever, and they'll save this land because they're going to get rid of those Diglett and maybe capture a few of them for themselves.
Well, yeah. So they have, but that's a real brief exchange. We don't really get into the meat of Team Rocket's matter until a little bit later. We are then whipped right back to the crowd of people.
Yes. Oh,
And
this is funny.
And the foreman is kind of explaining how he wants things to go.
So yeah, he wants everybody to battle these Diglett. And the people that get rid of these Diglett get this big, massive prize. So all of these trainers in itself are getting ready to they're gonna battle, but they don't know what's really ahead of them.
Right.
JP, do you have any notes on this part, or anything you want to chime in
About the Team Rocket and the Digletts and the
well about the foreman going over his big plan to have these trainers battle these Pokemon?
Well, it's a bit ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wrote down Craigslist question mark, which is basically it. Like, how did he get a hold of these people? What kind of technology they have? They have the Pokedex, which is clearly like of 1998 was like Fantasy Jetsons kind of technology.
Yes.
So do they have like internet access or a Pokemon equivalent? I imagine they incorporate a little bit of that into the later, like the more recent seasons. Like
oh
Modern
yeah.
Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Well, as Gary and his entourage are driving away, initially, Brock asked if he can get, some numbers, address, and email. So I mean, they do throw that in there.
He says email.
Yes.
He does say email.
So
This show is crazy.
I know.
They have email.
So
A 15-year-old in 1998 has an email.
yes. So he does.
It's like, can I get your MSN Messenger? Like,
Does anyone remember AOL AIM?
Yeah.
oh
So-
yeah, man, yeah.
Good stuff. But yeah, I believe they do, because even in the first episode they introduced the telephone that has a camera on it, so you can see and talk to people, but you do still have the corded phone, but you can talk with a video. So they had Skype before we even had Skype.
This is true.
So
What a world.
I know. It does come from Japan, and Japan and China are basically on top of stuff. At least out here in the States, we're the last to ever get anything.
Yeah. I mean, Canada, dude, we're even further behind. Yeah.
I can't speak on that though.
Yeah, we all live in igloos and ba da 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 da. Yeah.
So
You don't have cars. It's all ice skates, right?
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
ice
right.
skates, yeah. Yeah, and skiing.
Yeah, skiing.
It's like a James Bond movie nonstop.
It's like the first 10 minutes of every James Bond film.
Yeah. That was my morning, man. Whoa.
There you go, boy. Uphill both ways.
Yeah.
so this
Hot
is
potato in my hand. Yeah.
so I want to talk about this next scene with Team Rocket, because it kind of rolls a few questions into my head. So they're talking about their plan, and James is already, he's like, we come up with the same plans all the time. We have nothing else, and we have the same two Pokemon that we're using, and they basically try to come up with a scheme to forcefully evolve their Pokemon, to find a way to evolve them just forcefully. Like, what can we do? So that's where we kind of leave this scene, and I'm like, wait, can you forcefully? I mean, without like a Thunderstone or a Leaf Stone or something, can you actually forcefully, in this age of Pokemon, forcefully evolve your Pokemon?
Well, yeah, and like I mean that just opens up a whole raft of questions, because like I mean I guess in a way, if you get down to brass tacks, you get to a certain point. Like, I can tie this around to the video games again. You get to a certain point where you basically beat it, and like I say, you're basically running through the Elite Four with the express purpose of getting XP for, whoever you happen to throw into your sixth spot for that run.
You're brave, Doug. I had the Game Shark back in the day. I just got me some rare candies and just leveled up all my Pokemon.
Well,
Yeah, I found an exploit. I remember on like game FAQs way back in the day, and I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
I remember that site. That was my
Yeah.
site.
Yeah, man.
So
I'm kind of digging into that like early OOs nostalgia a bit myself, and like
yes. Or
Newgrounds, Game Facts, like.
do
Yeah.
you guys remember? And I know I'm kind of dating myself, but do you guys remember missing no from Red and Blue to
Oh,
get
yeah,
unlimited? The legal way to get unlimited, like anything that you had. You get a Master Ball. Now you have 99 of them.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, man. Yeah, Missing No was cool. I like the accidental glitchy art or whatever. I think is like a really good piece of contemporary artwork, sort of.
missing,
You know what I mean?
yeah, missing no came back in Sword and Shield. I'm gonna throw that out there. I have exploited it. Yeah, they do these new things called raid battles, and someone online they hacked into their Switch, and they can host these raid battles online to where you can basically catch missing no, and when you catch missing no is an egg in your game, and if you take the egg to let's see, if you take the egg to the daycare, you keep the egg as number 6 in your party. You put a Ditto and whatever other Pokemon into the daycare center, and you ride around, and whatever Pokemon you get, you take that and you put it into your party to try to switch it up with the 6th Pokemon in your party, and you could basically duplicate your Pokemon. So whoever was in your slot there, that Pokemon is now inside of your box, duplicated into the game, and it acts like you never took it out of the daycare. So you can legit get a legendary and duplicate the mess out of it. And then Pokemon got smart and they patched it. But anyone that had missing no in the game got to keep it. So I still have it. I have like 3 of them.
That's hype.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
bad.
I'm on r/hacked raids right now.
Yes, it was nice while it lasted. I'm just gonna put it out there. Me and my son, we were on top of that. So, but all
I
right,
should get this Sword and Shield, man. I should get this game. It looks really good, actually.
it really is.
Did they ever add all the Pokemon back in? Because I remember reading when it was close to coming out that they didn't actually include all of them for the first time.
Yeah, they did not. Right now, as it stands, I think you get about 80% of all of the Pokemon with the latest DLC that they put into the game. But as of right now, you still can't get all of the Pokemon in the game. But I think that's going to be in an update coming soon or coming in 2021. So
Okay.
yeah,
Good. Yeah, I'm not playing it till I can catch them all, catch them all.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So all right. So back in the episode, we come back to the foreman, who is like, I want these Diglett out of here, and then he's like, all these ground Pokemon, and then Gary just speaks up and he's like, technically, or no, they call him a bug Pokemon. And
Right.
and Gary is like, technically, Diglett's not a bug Pokemon. As a matter of fact, the term would be a mole Pokemon, because with and I wrote this down, so give me some type of credit. He's like, with the height of 8 inches and the weight of 2 pounds, they're actually harder candidates to get rid of. Fuck, I messed up. Yeah, well, basically he says they're hardly any Pokemon. They're a short Pokemon. So I kind of have
Right, and I mean it kind of reflects when we get the evolutionary form, when we get the Pokédex description in a few minutes here. But the Diglett start causing havoc again on some of the equipment and some of the buses, and the foreman has had enough, and he kind of breaks everybody off, and the freaking the cheerleaders do another cheer, and Gary calls out his top Pokemon to take on these menace,
And the Pokemon comes out and goes right back into the Pokeball.
goes right back in. And my first thought was, well, they make pills for this kind of problem.
I just think it's weird. So, okay, so the Pokemon, I mean, we're going to find out the reason for this in just a second, but everybody just starts throwing their Pokeballs in, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, so as they're throwing all of these Pokeballs into this big pile, you would think after like the 20th Pokeball that you would stop. But no,
Right.
all of these trainers, it seems like there's hundreds of trainers here, by the way. So they all start throwing these Pokeballs, and it comes in, they make like a Pokeball mountain. And then all of these Diglets just so happens to know who threw what Pokeball. So they start taking the Pokeballs and just bringing them back to the trainers.
Yeah,
Which I thought was very
kindly
nice.
returning them. Yeah, that's what I wrote. Wow, Diglets are so kind.
I thought that was extremely nice. They could have just taken them to their underground layers and said, "Fuck you, you just lost Pokemon."
Yeah.
But they returned them, which you have to appreciate on some level.
So
Yeah.
I just thought it was weird. And Doug, do you want to go over this next part with Ash throwing in his Pokemon?
So let's see. So the Pokemon Mountain is being depleted, and Ash is about to call out his Pokemon, and he's in mid pitch basically, and Pikachu jumps up because Pikachu is at the distinct position to kind of be able to explain.
Yes.
So he's gonna throw out Squirtle because he kind of rationalizes, well, Diglett can go underground, Squirtle will be able to flush him out. So like I say, he's a mid throw.
Was that was the logic? I was wondering what I've watched this episode 4 times, guys. Yeah, I watched it twice last night and twice today. One time on 1.5 speed.
You're like, I can't watch this at regular speed anymore.
No, I feel like the first 2 times I didn't watch anything though.
I
if that makes
challenge
sense.
myself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But yeah, Squirtle. So Squirtle would use his like water shit to flush it out underground.
flush it out, and then
Wouldn't that just make it kind of muddy?
Well, but it would also that was my other point. It would also kind of create some mud, which could theoretically make it harder to go back underground. But
not even just that, but now the foreman would have to wait for all of the ground to become soft again to be able to build on top of.
well, the man's at his wit's end. He probably doesn't give a shit.
He's over here playing whack-a-mole with the fucking Diglett. He's so mad that none of the Pokemon are coming out, and he just takes a hammer and he's like, I fucking had it with these Diglett.
That shit was funny. That was some like Buster Keaton kind of physical comedy, you know?
Yeah, there's some real slapstick. So basically, they return
all the Pokeballs.
They return Ash's Squirtle, and Gary's kind of over there going, well, nothing's gonna get accomplished. I mean, look at this poor guy, and like you said, he's over there playing whack-a-mole with 2 mallets. No, it's 1 mallet. He doesn't
One
even,
mallet.
So he's got 1 mallet, and he's trying to
Just smash their
whack, like,
heads in.
16 holes.
I mean, he sucks at whack-a-mole.
And he's kind of like, well, there's nothing to be done here. I mean, this is we're basically chasing our tail, and him and his entourage,
they leave.
They take off and leave, and that's when Brock's chasing after him, asking for email.
He's like, we never got exchanged emails. It's like crap. But yeah, Gary's smart though. He's like, yeah, if nothing's gonna happen here, if I can't help, I'm gonna continue my Pokemon adventure. So peace out, losers.
And Ash has a really good line. He's got a couple good lines in this episode. He's got a really good line of, I really don't like him.
Yeah, it's just like, that's quite on the nose, Mr. Ketchum.
So I just think it's funny because I can relate to Ash with having a rival. I've said it on a past episode. I had the same instance when I was back in high school. This was 12 years ago. So there was a guy.
How old are you guys? Out of curiosity.
I'm 30. And Doug?
I'm 31.
There you
31. Cool. Okay.
Yes.
I'm 25.
go. Okay,
So-
cool.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, back when I was in high school, there was a kid that we used to kind of like butt heads. We were always trying to one off each other the entire time that we were in high school. So I every time I would see him, and I would be like, man, I cannot stand this kid. And I'm sure it was the same way with him, because we were always like, well, I did theater and he was always the lead. I ran track and he knew everybody that I was running track with, and just he did the morning news in the morning, and I'm like, God, I cannot get away from this kid. So I was like, man. But
What's his name? What's his name? I'll
No, we're not doing it.
I got you, man.
oh,
That's
I can't give his name, but
Is his name Gary?
I can give
Like
a
this
first
man.
name. His first name, Nick, and that's all. Yeah, that's all I can. I know.
Terrible name. Never liked the damn Nick in my life. I'm trying to think if I have any friends named Nick. I don't think I do.
Don't lose contact real quick. You're like, no, I think I'm all right. Yeah.
So, all right. So and don't call me out on this, Doug, from what I'm about to say, but I had a problem with this next scene. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't.
I know you didn't. So this next scene, they're all in a hot tub. Okay. So Ash and Brock, they're just chilling. But then we get a close up of Misty, and they're going,
sir.
and Misty, I mean, yes, she has a bathing suit on, but the image that they fucking paint for like 30 to 45 seconds is you just get.
Oh, it wasn't that long.
Oh, I'm watching
I
it.
wrote pages of notes about this.
Okay, so
I'm just kidding.
so I just they I kind of feel like they always try to, at some point and at least once per episode, try to sexualize Misty. Like, you don't even get the bottom of her bikini in this scene. And they're going over their plan as to what they're going to do to kind of help this foreman guy. But you look at Misty, I'm just like, that's just bare back. Like they gave
I have
no
it
fucks.
paused right now.
Yeah. Like I'm looking at it right now. Please tell me if I'm out of line on this, Doug.
No, I mean, you're right, but it wasn't no 30 seconds. But yeah, no, I mean, I mentioned last week that I didn't appreciate the one shot they had when Magnemite snuck up behind Misty, and you had her like standing bolt upright, because I was like, you can tell just how short her shorts actually are, and I didn't appreciate it.
Yes. So, but okay, back to the main part of this scene. They're going.
They must sexualize Misty to because it's so obviously conscious, right?
Yes.
It has to. There's got to be some kind of like money, like they're thinking about money there. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
I'm not joking. Like, I'm like, because it's.
They do it on purpose. Well, I mean, and I kind of make the joke, and it's, I mean, the Japanese culture is a lot different than maybe out in Canada or out here in the US. Like, they out there, when they draw their anime, they very sexualize like younger girls out there.
Big time.
Yes.
Big
Big time.
Every fucking anime I've seen does that pretty much. Like, it's a trope of the genre, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in this, I just feel like, I mean, because they get better with it. Because, I mean, for God's sakes, anytime Misty comes back, she's not in those like booty shorts anymore. She has a full blown bodysuit. Like, it's a nice blue and orange bodysuit that she wears now.
Yeah, well, Pokemon is completely global at this point, but when they were making this, I'm sure global audience wasn't in mind.
Yes. So at this point, they're going over. They're like, well, what can we do? Like, none of our Pokemon are gonna come out of their Pokeballs, and they're not gonna battle these Diglets. So what can we do? And then Pikachu kind of looks over to the right and is like, okay, what is that? And then all the Diglets pop up, and just Ash almost drowns in this damn hot tub.
Well, and it's weird because So Pikachu sees a Diglett and takes off,
Yes.
which then forces Ash and Ash gets the bright idea. He's like, I'm gonna follow Pikachu because he's following the Diglett. So they all three stand up, and Brock is the one who, mind you, has the longest shorts on. Brock is the one who says, "Don't you think we should put on some clothes?"
Yes.
Because like I say, Brock's basically wearing cut-off jeans. Ash has a bit shorter shorts than I think I would wear as a guy. And then,
yeah, Misty's wearing as little as they could get away with.
Yes.
right, and Misty's wearing a bikini. So, we cut away from them and we see. Well, no. Well, first we see Pikachu following the parallel route to these Diglett.
Yes.
And then we cut, like you said, we cut back to the foreman who's doing the same thing he was doing when they left. So he's been doing this.
Yeah, I thought that was funny as hell.
Possibly like 5 hours.
He is like, I'm going to get one of these damn Diglett. Oh, I can't stand these damn Diglett.
Hope he's been eating some protein that day, man.
I hope so.
He's got like beef jerky and Gatorade. Just
So we get a big scene. This next scene. So we go straight from
this doesn't happen every episode. What we're about to see here.
Yeah. So we get Coughing and we get Ekans, and Jessie is reading a book. So she's trying to find out how can we forcefully evolve our Pokemon. So,
which is a very evil concept that they treat with a very wholesome brush.
Well, I mean, they are evil.
Well, yeah, but they treat it like, I mean, especially with how it happens. But like, because they're like, okay, how do we do it? Because obviously we're not winning a lot of battles with Ekans and Coughing. And then Jessie basically hits her wall because they're like, oh, Pokemon need a certain level of experience. And they're like, oh, shit, we're terrible. But then they get to another paragraph where it's like, when a Pokemon evolves, it becomes a completely different Pokemon.
Yeah, I wrote that down. That's a grand existential question.
Yeah, I mean, can we part with these Pokemon that we've had since, whatever? I mean, I think they were Christmas gifts.
Yes.
We find out, I think they were Christmas gifts. Can we part with these Pokemon that we've had
since
forever?
they were childs? Because I believe these Pokemon have stayed in their first forms for about, I would say easily a minimum of 13 years. Because we've kind of established that Jessie and James are maybe 19 or 20 years old in this series, but in the flashbacks they get these Pokemon when they're like 5.
Right.
So
yeah, so when they evolve they become entirely different Pokemon.
Yes.
And I ask what is the human equivalent of that? Where
puberty.
Yeah, I was gonna say puberty. So it's like, you said you have a son.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I do.
Like it's like with the first time your son says, "You know what, Dad? I don't want to go to the movies with you.
Yeah.
I want to go with my friends." You know what I mean?
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to that. Right now, my son, he's only 7, so he's all about Dad right now. So I'm taking in as much as I can get. But man, the day that happens, well, who knows when that's going to happen until this pandemic's over. But
yeah, how's that going? Sorry to derail. How's that, like, as a father? Like, that's got to be weird, man.
It's different.
Yeah, where are you? Are you guys in Chicago?
Yeah, we're based out of Illinois. So
We're
Illinois. Okay,
we're in
that's
the
what I figured.
suburbs.
yeah, we like to say Chicago because everybody and their mom knows where Chicago is. So,
Yeah, it's the professional wrestling lens. We have to say Chicago because that's what people are going to recognize, even though
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's suburbs, but it's easier to just say Chicago.
Same reason I would just tell you guys Vancouver, even though I live on an island.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually live on an island called Vancouver Island. I don't know
Really?
if you guys know about this. Yeah, but Vancouver's not on Vancouver Island.
Huh.
Of course it
Isn't
isn't.
Isn't
Why
that
would
dumb?
it be?
Yeah,
That's weird.
it is weird.
So, all right. So,
That's colonialism for you, man.
Right.
So at this point, Team Rocket finally comes to the conclusion that our Pokemon are never going to evolve. They're too weak. They don't have enough experience. We lose all these battles. But you know what? Maybe we don't want to part with our Pokemon. We love our Pokemon too much. And then they hug their Pokemon and some tears roll off of both of their faces and it splashes on Ekans and it splashes on, coughing. Then out of nowhere, they start to glow.
And then we see from their perspective as their shadows get larger. And Jesse and James say, well, they're evolving for us. And then Meowthus is there to pour cold water on the situation right away. He's like, well, it was just their time. It was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But
I wrote down too, wheezing is the worst evolution ever because it's like coughing is like this like sick like lung cancer tuberculosis patient or straight out of like Chernobyl or something.
Makes,
He's worse.
yes, and he grows another head that doesn't fully become a coughing.
He's a poor victim of nuclear war, man. Like that is, it's such a dark ass Pokemon. I remember the level where all those Pokemon show up to. That's nightmare fuel, man.
Yeah,
Pallet? No. What's the name of the town? It's in the game.
Oh,
that's got the fucked up music and all the like scary Pokemon.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't even.
It'll be the first Gengar episode.
It's Lavender Town, isn't it?
Lavender Town, yeah.
So
nice name, such a dark place.
I just think it's funny because I and we can kind of tie this into the last episode we did, Doug, that Weezing is such a weird Pokemon, but is Grimer any different?
Well, Grimer is literally a pile of slime, basically. A pile of,
See, Grimer doesn't seem as upset. Weezing is like verbalizing pain.
Weezing sounds hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, whereas Grimer is just like
he's embraced what he is.
He's a vegetable essentially, right?
He's just a pile of just slime and it happens to have eyes and a mouth.
It's just I think
we don't judge Ditto.
No, we don't.
No, because he's cute. You see, there's a line.
And I just think it's hilarious because we've come to the conclusion any Pokemon that's a Pokemon has a heartbeat. Okay, where the hell inside
that's
of a
canon? You think that's canon?
That
they have hearts?
I think so.
Like biological hearts?
I mean, at least in Kanto, I mean, it's when you start getting into the newer stuff and you've got a pile of trash and a ring of keys and shit.
But where the hell?
I hate that shit, man. Some of these Pokemon are so fucking
weird.
Weird. Yeah, I saw some of the Sword and Shield ones, and I'm like, I don't want to be a nerd anymore.
Yeah, well, it's the fact that
my glasses.
They have over 800 Pokemon now. I remember the first 151. I used to be able to do the Poke Rap. Right before we were recording this, my son upstairs had me put on the Poke Rap to see if I could still do it. I got like maybe 70 Pokemon out of that whole Poke Rap. I was like, I can't do this anymore. He's like, I'm going to learn it. I was like, all right.
That's not even a passing
You're doing
grade.
that on the last episode of the season.
Yes, I am. So I'm going to have to learn it again.
Better get on that.
I'll see if I could. Maybe I'll make you an instrumental remake of it. I could probably do that.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'd appreciate that.
Me and my dogs could do that. Yeah, for sure, man.
I'm gonna talk to you off air. So remind me, I got to ask you a question. All right.
Cool.
So So this next scene, on Pokemon, we have the gang, still running after the Diglett, but this time the Diglett have like tree branches on top of their head, and then we finally get introduced to a Doug trio who's basically picking or making like big trenches in the ground, and Diglett are planting the little tree roots into the ground. So it's kind of a teamwork that they have going on.
And it's at that point we get the Pokédex entry for Doug Trio, which is completely pointless because it says Doug Trio, the evolved form of Diglett. No additional information available. What the fuck?
Okay.
I was so mad.
Bad writing.
Yeah. Okay. So how good is Professor? Okay. So Professor Oak made the Pokédex. We've come to the conclusion that he made the Pokédex. Okay.
Right.
So how good of a professor is Professor Oak when I feel like more than half of these episodes that we're going over, the Pokédex goes no further data required. Like, is that the reason he gave Ash the Pokédex, was so he can go out and report back to Professor Oak? So Professor Oak...
That's in the games. Isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. That's the reason you get the Pokédex in the game, but it was never really...
I remember that being so satisfying.
Oh, I can't. I remember getting 150 Pokemon in the game before we all knew about Mew, and then the game would not end. It's like there's still one more Pokemon out there. I was like, what do you mean there's still one more? I was like,
How did you get Mew?
I didn't get Mew from the truck, which I later found out he was hiding under. I got Mew via there was
Is that real though? Isn't the truck thing a myth?
I honestly I don't know. I got Mew from a Pokemon.
My hangover YouTube watching is like secrets of Pokemon and shit like that. Like
I know. I'll never forget getting Mew. It was me and my childhood friend. We went to a Pokemon card tournament. And as long as
I remember that shit.
Yeah.
We had that up here too. It would be at Toys R Us's.
Yeah, Toys R Us's and at your local comic book stores.
Yeah.
So the one that I went to was inside of it's called the Fox Valley Mall out here. So I went in there, and as long as you were within the top 20 people that were there, you would hook up your game system to their little machine. There was some Pokemon host there and they would use the little cable link and they would trade it over to you. And that's the way that you got Mew. And I got Mew by being in the top 20, but I couldn't say I got any further than that because I got my ass kicked later on. But yeah. Oh.
That's the only way you could get Mew. That's what it says right here. Event.
Yes.
Although, you can get it in Pokemon Emeralds. That's the only mainline game where you can get it outside of an event.
But
look at that.
I am happy. Me and my son are full Pokemon goers, and they just announced today that on February 20th that they're doing a Kanto Pokemon event where for 12 hours you'll be able to capture all 150 Pokemon. And if you happen to fill your Pokédex during this time, which I'm already on top of that, I've already caught all of them. All the first 151 actually. But if you fill your Pokédex during this time, they'll give you a special event that you can do, and the prize is that you'll get a shiny Mew in your Pokemon Go game. I bought my ticket already. I'm already in. They bought me right there. That's all they had to say.
How's Pokemon Go doing? Like following. I never played Pokemon Go because I have an old iPhone. It would never work on.
Pokemon Go, I believe it was actually named, let's see, it came in third place this year for Game of the Year. The number one game this year just so happened to be a SpongeBob game called Krusty Cook-Off or something like that.
For phone games?
Yes.
Is that... Okay.
So Pokemon Go, during the pandemic, they usually have in the game where you have to go to these raids, but you have to meet up with a group of people in order to do it. Since the pandemic happened, you can do these raids from the comfort of your own couch, but you have to buy remote raid passes in order to do it. So they banked on a lot of people doing that. And the game...
Did you do it?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I can't tell you how many I've easily spent, probably since March, I've easily spent about a little over $400 on Pokemon Go. No joke.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
But I guess it's something you're doing with your son, right? So it's like...
Yeah, but my son's no help right now because once he gets a legendary Pokemon, his butt is done until the next event. So,
right.
But all right, back into the actual series. So, Doug, you stopped at the part where no further information was required from the Pokedex with the Doug trio. You want to continue from that part?
Yeah, well, like you said, then we see Doug trio is going along the trenches, and Diglett are building the trees, and then we see we flash forward kind of to a finished image, kind of when it's all bright and there's a bunch of flowers and trees and shit.
Yeah, there's subliminal message.
And Brock, well, it's not even subliminal. Brock hits us over the head with it. He goes, "Well, this must be, Diglett and Doug Trio's home, and if the building project goes forward, they're going to be put out." Luckily the foreman kind of sees the error of his ways.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah, and the foreman sits here. Yeah, he sees the error of his ways because Brock basically says, just like you said, Doug, this whole area would be demolished and all the Pokemon would lose their homes, and we get these awful graphics of these Pokemon on like mudslides and these Pidgeys just flying away, and like a big old what do you call those? Not a sand pit, but what do you call like those little vortex in the ground? One of you where it like sucks in, where the ground kind of sucks in.
Quicksand.
Yeah, there you go. I couldn't think of it. So yeah, you get like a quicksand image of all these Pokemon just being dragged underground. Like they gave no shits. Like they were always trying to pull at your heartstrings with Pokemon and death is a big thing in this first season. But yeah, so the guy sees the error of his ways, and we get a glimpse of him going, I'm going to stop my construction over here, because if I keep going, these Digletts are going to lose their homes, or if I continue to build, they're just going to tear it down anyway. So Ash is basically like, well, I think we all learned a lesson here. and that we have to protect the world.
And looks like we're about to wrap up the episode, but then Team Rocket has to make their last little pop up, and they say, well, don't have the party without us. And then
Team Rocket is going into their motto, and fucking Meowth just jumps out of there, basically going, we don't have time for this. There's only 2 minutes left of this episode. Everybody knows the motto. I love that.
Yeah, I thought that was really fun. I wrote down that there's no bad guys in this episode by the end of it.
No, not really.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love no conflict.
So, but it's at this point that Jesse and James introduce their brand new Pokemon, because the last we saw them, they were evolving. So now we get Arbok, and we get good old Weezing, and Weezing just looks dead. And
obviously Arbok is a bigger Cobra, which is
yes,
at least something. But then
I'm sorry.
So it's the two Team Rocket Pokemon, and then Ash is a complete dick, and he calls out Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, along with Pikachu.
That's not fair. Like a 4-on-2 battle, a handicap match. Like, come on now, your Pikachu can easily shock everybody and just win this damn battle.
So we see Weezing put out, I think
Smog.
What is it? Smog, and then
Arbok now knows Dig.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's fitting for the episode, obviously.
Yes.
And they go, Arbok and Weezing go in the tunnel, and the next time we see them,
they get knocked out.
They've been beat to shit by the Diglett. And, the little... And we do get a Doug trio that pops up at the very end, and then there's a freaking just big old uprising that literally takes Team Rocket away. I mean, they make a surfing reference.
Yes, I think James was like, hang 10. He's like, we're surfing. And
we're riding the curl, and then they take the dirt wave and they crash it into the structure that had been abandoned.
And Team Rocket's gone.
I mean, we see him at the very end. But yeah, I mean, the structure's down. The guy's like, well, I wasn't going to build, but now I'm definitely not going to build.
That was a lot of Diglett and Doug trio. I just want to add that. That was a lot of fucking Pokemon. So, but yeah, it's at this point, Ash basically goes, okay, well, since everything's back to normal now, let's go ahead and head on over to the Fuchsia City Gym.
Yeah, this was enough of a detour this episode.
And then we come back.
You guys know if the next episode they actually get to the gym? I don't know.
Let's see. Ninja Poke Showdown is the next episode, and I believe that is the Fuchsia City Gym. Yeah, I believe that's the episode where
that's hype.
Yeah, And if I'm remembering correctly, I believe they find the gym, but they don't know it's a gym. So,
yes, I'm gonna go with a yes.
yes, the ninja. Yeah, because they find a big building in the middle of a forest, I believe, and they're looking for Fuchsia City, but they don't know that Fuchsia City is basically not a city at all.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's the end of Dig Those Diglett. So what an episode. And I'm glad you picked this one.
Yeah, me too. It's a funny one, man. I was so thankful when I properly watched it, which was the third time. I was so thankful for the foreman and the heavy-handed environmental message. I love that. It reminded me. I've been reading the Archie Sonic comics. You guys familiar with those?
Yes, I am. I remember Archie from when I was little, real little.
Yeah. But yeah, the Sonic comics that Archie published, and they have these very similar late 90s environmental messages,
Okay.
Whether they're different than now, but where it's just oh, the forest is beautiful. That's it, And I thought that was sick. I was like, oh, this ties in. I'm doing a deep dive on Sonic that I'll do on my pod eventually, but
yeah, for real. Okay.
Yeah, I just think it would be such a funny thing to interview all these musicians and blah 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 blah, blah and then just be like, ha ha ha, Sonic.
Well, a good way to tie it in. Sonic has very good music in all of its games.
Don't get me started, dude. Yeah, it's so good.
So yeah,
Sonic Adventure 2, that first song, City Escape, man.
Woo! Can you play it?
No. I would never. What's the name of the band? Crush 40. I would never do a disservice to their opus-esque music.
Gotcha. So, all right, JP. So it's towards the end of the episode. Why don't you tell our fine listeners where they can find you? And if you have a Twitter, throw it out there. Just plug all your stuff again.
Yeah. You guys can follow me on Instagram. You can follow my Twitter too. They're both just JP Meldrum. That's my name. MELDRUM JP. My Twitter is just shit posting though, so don't bother with that. And my Instagram is pretty clean. And my podcast is called JP versus the World, interviews with pretty much God knows who. I make music too, under my real name, JP Meldrum, and I make hip hop under the name Philip Morris, which you can find on all your favorite streaming services.
Ooh,
very nice.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, thank you for coming on to our show again, JP.
Yeah, this was awesome, man. You guys rock. Fuck, that was fun.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw it out there. The invite is out there for you to come back on a future episode.
Ivysaur.
Oh,
the Ivysaur episode. I don't know how soon that is, but I'd like to do that one.
All right. We'll check that. We'll check on it, and we will end up getting back to you on that. But yeah. But yeah. Thanks again for coming on. So, Doug, do you have anything else to say before we end this week's episode?
No. I mean, this was a fun episode. We've had a couple of kind of one-off stories in a row. With the Magnemite last week, and then obviously with this one, but it looks like we're gonna get into some serious shit next week. And
yes, we are.
Yeah, this one was definitely fun. It's always nice to have somebody come on and have a different perspective, have some different notes. So it's always good, and this is awesome. This was a good hang.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just a solid episode all the way around.
Cool. Well, then we're gonna do our normal sign off. But I'm gonna include our special guest. So go ahead and say goodbye to our fine folks, JP.
Bye.
And Doug, give your old goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And everybody, this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you, tune in next week because we have a Pokemon gym battle. Have a good night, everybody.